Mic check. Let me check on my phone, you guys. Let me check on my phone. Let me check on my phone to make sure you guys can hear me. Yep. Oh, you guys can hear me. Bet. Oh, you guys can hear me. Bet. Bet. Let me make a post on the Instagram. Let me make a post on the Instagram, man. Let me make a post on the Instagram to let them know. Look, I'm going live right now. Live right now on the Twitch, man. Let me get this set up, man. This is my first stream. You guys bear with me if you guys are watching, right? I don't think anybody's watching right now, but hey, if you watching, you watching, man. I'm about to hop on this Twitch, and we are about to get it going. All right, I'm just making this post real quick for the Twitch. Oh no, did I delete something? Hold on, you guys. My Instagram is tweaking, making sure I got all my posts up on there. All right, but I got all my posts up on there, man. Look, it's your boy Official Go Getter. We are coming at you with our first live on Twitch, man. I got a few topics I want to talk about, man. It's been a minute since I have done some personal content, right? Since I brought Official Go Getter and just done content alone with him. I've been doing a lot of things with Full Circle Wealth, right? Shout out to my partner Flash, my partner who doing the crypto with me. We're building Full Circle Wealth, the community, teaching people how to get into stocks and crypto and invest over these next few years because investing is getting real serious, right? The economy is changing. The economy is changing for the U.S., for the U.K., right? The dollar is losing value, and the only thing that you can do right now is invest and get skills so you can create your own revenue, your own source of revenue, right? So that's what Full Circle Wealth is all about, right? That's all Full Circle Wealth is all about. We're all just trying to bring beginners, people who aren't beginners, people who are advanced. It doesn't matter. It's just a community of people who invest into the financial markets. And if you don't know how to invest into the financial markets, you come to Full Circle Wealth. We got Wealth Wednesdays where we talk about the financial markets. We talk about first the Wealth Wednesdays. We started this in January, February, right? And Wealth Wednesdays originally was just catered to reading a book, right? So we read the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, right? Naval Ravikant. I forgot how to spell his name, but the Almanac, that is the name of the book. And then we also read The Psychology of Money, which is a great book, by the way. Let me see if these clips are done, right? But Psychology of Money was a great book, by the way. So that's what Full Circle Wealth is all about. We just all learning together, right? It's just an opportunity for us to all learn together. And Flask and I, my partner, right? He does stocks. I do crypto. That's how we came together, right? I get people into the stocks, right? While he gets people into the crypto, right? So that's where I've been at, man. You guys have been seeing me. If you have been seeing it, you guys have been seeing it. I know you guys have been following, right? But if you haven't been following, I'm new to you. That's what Full Circle Wealth is, and you've been seeing it all over my Instagram. So for the people who have been following, didn't understand, and needed a breakdown, man, that's what it is about, right? So I've been doing that. Then I linked up with my boys Q and B, right? I met Q through working at just living in the city, actually. So he was a barber. He is a barber, and just living in the city. I was looking for a barber that was in Seattle, right, per se, right, because I spent a lot of time in the city, and I didn't want to have to travel to outskirts, you know. So, long story short, man, I wanted to find me a black barber, preferably. Q was a black barber that I found in the city, man. I didn't know he was black by his I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was black by seeing his face. I only knew he was black by seeing his cuts, right? So if you really know haircutting, you know when a black person is cutting some hair, right? I seen the photos that he had on the Cut app, and I'm like, man, I'm taking my chances. I don't know if this guy's black or white, but I could tell by the way he's cutting these people, man, he got to be black, because black people know how to cut some hair, man. We know how to cut some hair, no cap. So with that being said, man, that's how I met Q, man. So we were just talking, and I get people into investing, and he had just started getting into investing and getting into the stock market. Here, better yet, when I walked in there, I watched Market Mondays every Monday. I've been watching it for every Monday for the last however many years, right? Market Mondays, that's Earn Your Leisure, that's the stock market. They talk about the financial markets and the economy, right? He had that on, right? So he had Market Mondays on when I walked in there, right? And I knew that was an automatic sign. First, when I had already seen him, he had this camera. I didn't know it was him, but I saw this dude, and you know he can get inspired by somebody. I mean, I saw this camera, I saw the way he dressed up, and I'm like, man, this guy's on a mission. Like, he doesn't dress up. He dresses up similar to me, man, just focused, simple, right? He had this camera, fit body, man. Long story short, man, when I walked in there, I was already inspired by not knowing him, not knowing he was my barber. And then I walked into the barber shop. Next thing you know, he has Market Mondays on. We're talking about stock market investing. We're talking about business, right? He's older than me, right? So I'm able to learn from him, right? So he's got this camera. He's teaching me how to do more with this camera and find the right angles with content. And I'm just seeing him produce and create, and it's making my mind go, you know, more expansive. So long story short, he worked. That's how we met. We just started discussing certain things, and he was getting to do content for Full Circle Wealth, right? I was trying to get him to do some content for Full Circle Wealth, and he came to me and was like, look, man, I think you should co-host with this guy, Brandon, right? And I got a podcast in mind, and I'm like, bet. Here's the thing. I don't even think I've told Brandon or Q, but Brandon, right? I'm co-hosting with Brandon now. Q, I met as my barber, right? But Brandon doesn't know. Brandon was working real estate at the building that Q was leasing his studio in for barbering, right? So Brandon would lease offices out. His job was to get those offices filled up. Months and months ago, before I even met Q or Brandon or any of that, months and months ago, I was on Facebook Marketplace looking for a studio. Before I'm in the one right now, right? We're gonna talk about that. I was looking for a studio. It wasn't a studio; it was an office. Right now, I'm in a studio, but it was an office that I was looking for. And Brandon, he had it listed on Facebook at the offices at the same building Q was in for $500, $600 a month. And I'm like, man, I want to get me an office. So I DM'd him on Facebook. He never answered me. I figured they was fake, whatever the case was. Next thing you know it, I'm working with these guys now. So that's just how God works. I bring that up to say, man, I move with God, man. So I got my mission, right? I got my vision, and I keep God with my vision and my mission, right? So anytime that I'm moving forward, God is orchestrating and directing my steps, right? So that's just you can't make that up, right? I had to tell that story. I haven't got it off my chest yet. I'm just telling you guys where I've been at lately and what I've been doing, the backstory of what I've been doing. But that was nothing but God, right? So now, I'm working with these guys, and we're doing a podcast. We're recording later. Me and Q, we're gonna record later today at 6, and Yeah, man, it's been great. So let's get into the topics that I have for today. Right. First, we can talk about this right here. I got the market. I got the market up right here. The S&P 500 is at all-time highs. We are at $660. Let me move my face so you can see it. Right here, S&P 500 SPY is at $660. That is an all-time high. That is a big deal. If you don't know what the S&P 500 is, why, right, and why we look at the S&P 500, that is the makeup of the top 500 companies in the United States, right, that are publicly traded on the stock market, right? So the S&P 500 tells us the gauge of whether the market is up or down, right? So if the S&P 500 is going up, the market overall is going up. If the market is at an all-time high, and the S&P 500 is if the S&P 500 is at an all-time high, well, we know the majority of the stocks that are within this index, right, which is already majority of the best stocks, are at an all-time high, right? So that means the highest stocks, the top stocks, the ones with the most market cap, are more inclined to move up, right? Inside the S&P 500, we have the tech companies, and inside the S&P 500, the tech companies are the ones that move the S&P 500 the most, right? So what tech companies am I talking about? We have Amazon, we have Meta, we have Nvidia, we have Palantir, we have Apple, we have Google, we have Tesla, right? Tesla has moved up a lot lately, a lot in the last couple of days. Tesla has gone up, I think, since the lows in April, it's gone up. Here's September. I'm on the 5-minute time frame. Let me go to the daily time frame, right? I got a lot of numbers. I got a lot of things marked out here on Tesla. Let me get this out the way a little bit. Let me get this out the way and get my computer situated for you guys so you guys can see, man. All right, man. I got a lot of things marked here on Tesla. Let's remove them. So looking at the daily time frame, we were down here this low. That's in March of 2025 for Tesla, right? So March, April, we were this low, right? So that was at 223, and now you see that we're at an all-time high, not an all-time high, but we're at a high right here. We just closed at 422 today. So I take this tool and I want to see how much percentage that is, and boom, it tells me 92%, almost 100% over the last since March. So I don't know how many months that is off the top of my April, May, June, July, August. 6 months. Over the last 6 months, 90%. That's a great return, right? So shout out to Tesla. So I'm mentioning that to say that all these companies, these are the companies that move the S&P 500 the most. And if you want to know why, right? The reason why is because these companies are the percentage of these companies make up most of the percentages of investments when it comes down to the S&P 500. So these companies are invested into the most inside this index, is what I'm saying. So when you're investing into the specific company the most, that specific company or those specific companies will move your index the most, move your portfolio the most, right? So that is why. So with these guys being at all-time highs, man, you know, it is crazy because September is usually the worst month in the market, right? So we were all waiting on September to have that pullback. I'm still waiting on it, right? So if you look at my chart, I'm going to show you what's going on my chart right now. I got the H1 demand right here all the way down here at the low, right, of 630, and I got the 3% drop to 634. We're at 660, man. We have to have a pullback at some point, right? So I think in that pullback, it's gonna come when it comes. And when it comes, this is my target, right? Possibly that 3-4% drop, right? If not, it doesn't happen, right? Because history doesn't always repeat itself, but it does often rhyme, right? So that is what's going on with the S&P 500 right now. We're at all-time highs. Wait for a pullback if you want to get into the markets, man. But anybody who doesn't know, anybody who's talking smack on the markets and is saying don't invest your money, or oh, the markets are risky, or oh, the markets don't go up, I want you to understand that the market is a forward moving mechanism. So you will have pullbacks, you will have moments where you will see, let's go to the daily time frame, or even the weekly, we can go to the daily, but you will have moments where you will see the market going up right here, the way it is right here. You will have moments where you have the market going up just like this, right? Let me get my tool. You have the moments where you have the markets going up just like this, and then it comes down just like this, but then it goes back up just like this, right? So at this was the lows of 480 was the lowest of the low this year. This is when we had those tariffs coming in. This is where everybody was panicking in the economy. This is when things were getting very bad. Right here, let me circle it so everybody can know, because at this moment was when everybody was talking smack about the markets. This is when everybody was going just having a negative mentality towards the market, saying don't invest. This is when all the bearish people, the people who were betting on the market to go down, were talking all the smack and blah blah blah, right? But if you're really a good investor, this is where you saw money. You saw cha-ching, cha-ching. You saw dollar signs. That's a bad dollar sign, but you saw some dollar signs, right? Because what you understand is the fact that when the market goes down, we know the market wants to go back up at some point, and you only buy quality assets, right? So when that happens and the market wants to go down, this is the time where you buy, right? So right here is when we bought, right, the SP 500, right? This is when we bought more shares of specific companies that were down, right? This is when we bought, right? While other people panicked and maybe even sold. If you sold right here, you did the worst of the worst thing that you could do, right? Because the market always comes back up. This was a low, right? This was so low to the point where it had nothing to do but go up. That's how low it was, right? And since that point, we're at 660 now, when it was just at 480 just a few months ago. So the same way I was talking about that move on Tesla 6 months ago, like I was talking about, right? The tech companies that have the most percentages in the SP500, right? They move similar to the SP500. So just like we saw Tesla 6 months ago, it was at a very low, right? Right here, we're at an all-time high in the SP500. Tesla the other day just hit a high, right? So this is where we bought. And from the percentages, that was a 40% increase, dude. A 40% increase, man. So you have the fact that this was a 40% increase, but then let's get into the fact that from January from January to January 25, from January 24 to January 25, that was already a 50% increase, right? So if you took that 50% increase, right, and you took your profits here, which makes sense, which is why people would take profits right here, right, and then you got back in after you took your profits, right, at the low right here at 480, right, and said, okay, I'm going to buy back in at this low. You made double your, percentages, right? So you went from, you had a 49% gain, 50% gain, and then another 40% gain. That's almost 100% that you did in a year and a half, right? So that is the SP 500, man, and the SP 500 have been going crazy, and this is why you need to invest, right? This is why we all need to invest, right? This is why we all need to invest, because you see what's going on right here, right? This is the way that we keep up, and not only keep up, but get ahead in our economy, right? Because the dollar is losing value, and as the dollar loses value, things cost more, right? So next thing that I want to talk about is my favorite stock, man. My favorite stock that's been going all year for me, dude. SoFi, right? I love SoFi. Let me actually grab my wallet so you guys can see that. Let me show you guys. Right, so when it comes down to investing, you want to invest in the companies that you actually, it's important that you invest into the companies that you are actually consuming, right? So if you are, if you buy Amazon a lot, buy Amazon. If you use Instagram, Facebook a lot, invest into Meta. If you use Google a lot, which we all do, invest into Google. Or Apple, we all have Apple products. SoFi, right? So SoFi, you can't see my card number or anything like that, but SoFi is my has been my number one pick for all year, right? This is a smaller cap company, but this is a small cap company that's been on my eye for a few years now. This year, I've decided to go all in on it and focus on that specific asset, that specific company. Man, this company has been going great. They do software finance, right? So they're based out of San Francisco, I believe. They also have a building here in Seattle, man, but they have been going up, right? So they have been going up all year. That was April. Since the lows in April, they've gone up to 194%, right? And I've been trading this stock and investing into this stock. This stock has given me great returns, right? But on top of that, you can see the growth in the stock in the finances, right? So right here you have year to date 82%, in the last month 17%, in the last 6 months 116%. But what I want to show you guys really is the finances, right? Every time that it comes down to looking on freaking trading view, I figure I always lose out where financials are. So let's look at the total revenue first, right? So we see the total revenue since quarter 2023 has gone up, right? So they've gone from 756 million to 1.13 billion, right? That's a big deal. Great jump, right? Great increase, right? So they're at 1.13 billion, right? And when it comes down to let me see, 1.18 billion income statement, total growth, operating expenses, 22 months, operating income. So yeah, the last quarter, quarter two, 2025, they reported 1.1 billion in total revenue. Let's look at their balance sheet real quick. They got these assets, right? Their assets are more than these liabilities, right? Their assets have been growing over time too, right? Cash flow. Let's look at this cash flow, right? So last time I looked at the cash flow, right, something about a small cap company, you'll see that they'll have negative cash flow at times because they put that cash flow into growing the business. But something that you want to pay attention to is the fact that this negative cash flow has decreased, right? So you see negative 32.76, negative 40 million, right? But then they hit a point where they, due to those investments, they came back out in profit, 15 million. Now they're at 1.16 billion. So you saw the money going back in the company caused it to grow, right? And this is what caused me last time to say I'm going to go all in on this company, because I saw what they were doing. I saw that when you see that negative number, that means that when you see that negative number get lower, that means they're invested to the company and seeing profit back, right? So if you get into that, if you read these numbers right, you can get into the company before they turn all the way profitable and benefit, right, when they do go profitable, which is what we just did with SoFi, because we saw that they were going from negative to positive, and when they're going to keep going in the positive route. You're there before everybody else catches, right? So when we're still early, because something about SoFi is, shout out to Chris saying, which he mentioned, is the fact that Wall Street hasn't picked up on this. So in Wall Street, the big players and the big money hasn't picked up on it. You don't see the money flow up into it as much, but when it does, it goes crazy. So same thing happened with Palantir. The Palantir was at a point where they was moving slow, and Wall Street. Oh, 1 second, I'm getting a call. 1 second, I'm on live. Okay. I was talking about SoFi. Yeah, net income 100 mil. Trailing 12 months, 560 million net income. Yeah. So, yeah, software finances, right? So the reason that I do like this company, so once again, like I mentioned, right? So you have SoFi, right? So the focus on software, tech when it comes down to finances, right? So think of like Cash App, think of like Chime, right? But the reason why I like this one and why I'm paying attention to these guys a lot, because if you compare it to Chime and Cash App, right? Chime and Cash App cater to a specific consumer, like your day-to-day consumer, right? More often than not, it's people who are on who can't get a bank account, right? They have lower amounts of money in their bank account, right? They're not typically you don't see professionals using Cash App or Chime either, right? They usually go with a bigger bank, right? But this is Cash App. This is Chime, right? So this is Cash App, this is Chime, and then you got SoFi, So you got Cash App, you got Chime, you got SoFi. The reason why I like SoFi is because I see more professionals using this, right? So SoFi has tackled the online finance lane, right? But they haven't just tackled online finance to the day-to-day consumer, or the consumer with that is not professional, right? And what I mean by professional is usually your average person uses Cash App. Only your average person uses like Cash App or Chime, right? Usually, right? More often than not, day to day, right? But when it comes down to SoFi, right? They've tackled the fact that it's not just your day to day average person, right? It's a tech person, right? It's a CEO. It's a person with a lot of money in their account and want to invest through the company as well, invest through the platform as well, right? So you can buy, hold, and sell crypto through that platform, right? You can invest into the stock market through that platform, right? I have SoFi shares through my SoFi bank account app, right? So this is a great pickup, right? I like this company. I don't want to say love, but I like this company, man, and I see this company continuing to grow. You see right here, we're at 27, and we have another. If we get when we hit to $40, that's another 50% to go, right? So this has been my number one pick all year, man. They are also, when it comes down to it, they also have SoFi Stadium, right? So they invested to have SoFi Stadium and have their name on the stadium of the LA Rams Stadium. And that's a big deal too. So we're in this thing early, dude. This is a sleeper that nobody's really picking up on, right? This is SoFi Stadium right here, right? Their name is becoming a household name, right? And they're gonna get commercials eventually. They'll have all these things eventually, and we're gonna be early, right? So this is SoFi, man. Software finance, like these guys, man. I really do like these guys, and the reason why I like it a lot is just because it's one of those things where it's like, it's more so my conviction of my analysis paying off. You know what I mean? Right. They also do banking, loans, invest. They have credit card and mortgages. That's another big thing about them that I like, right? So when it comes down to online finance companies, not a lot of them give the opportunity to get loans and have a credit card or build a relationship with them so you can get loans, right? But they give you the opportunity to build a relationship with them, to get loans, to get a credit card, to get mortgages, right? Get student loans, refinancing. It was originally founded on allowing borrowers to refinance federal and private loans. They get personal loans, they get home equity, mortgages, like I just mentioned. They have a checking and savings, they have a credit card, they have a SoFi Relay, they have SoFi Protect, SoFi Plus, a premium subscription members that unlocks additional rewards and benefits, right? Yep, they do a lot of great stuff here, right? So check this company out, man. This has been my top company of year, all year, man. What's next? What's next on our list, man? Next thing that I do want to talk about is, oh, look at where we're sitting, man. I want to talk about where I'm at right now, man. So God blessed us, right, with this beautiful new apartment that's sitting behind us, right? So eventually I'm gonna give you guys a tour, right? But welcome to the studio headquarters, man. This is the studio headquarters, man. I am sitting in my new apartment, man. And I copped the studio. We're right here in Seattle. We're in the middle of the city, man. I copped the studio, right? I don't want to compartmentalize my mind, right? I sacrificed on the space and paid a little bit more so I can be in the environment that I wanted to be in. But I also wanted to level myself up, right? I didn't want to put myself in a position where I was compartmentalizing my mind, meaning I didn't want a living room and a bedroom. I didn't want an office space and somewhere to sleep. I wanted to sleep in my workspace. You know what I mean? So we're on that grind type of time, man. We are on that grind type of time, man. It's the studio headquarters, man. It feels great to have my own spot, right? You guys get to see a lot more of me. You guys get to see a lot more of my personality, right? I felt kind of confined living in my mother's house, right? Doing the things that I want to do, such as what I'm doing right now, right? Shout out to my mom, though. Shout out to my family, right? I love you guys. and it was a great opportunity staying there, and building myself up there. I just turned 22 on August 30th, right? So it's September 16th, and all this has been a great year. I've been a little bit more low key, just really been trying to focus on building and establishing myself, right? And we've been doing that, and now I'm in a perfect position now to be able to speak to you guys when I want to, how I want to, as loud as I want to, right? Um, and it feels great, man. This is we got this. All we got right now is we got a few air mattresses, and we got this desk set up, and I got this monitor set up right here, and with my laptop, got the little Xbox right back there. Um, but it's amazing, man. It's amazing, man. It's been amazing to be able to walk truly into myself because it's very important, right? It's very important that you walk truly into who you are and put yourself in that position to walk truly into who you are, right? Without any distractions around or anybody in your ear trying to tell you who you are, right? Um, One of the best things that I like so far, it's only been about a week since I've been in here, but the best thing that I like about it so far is just the fact that the space that I have to work, man. I spent so much time in the city, right? I spent so much time in the city working at different places, working at all the different Amazon hubs, working at all these different Amazon buildings and community buildings that were just nice places, that were public spaces, right? Nice buildings, right? I've spent so much time finding the right spots for me to go work at every day, and finding the right Starbucks and finding the right vibe here in the city, and to the point where it feels good. Oh, even when I was at home, I used to, at my mother's house, lock in. When I was locking in on my computer, I could only feel like I could lock in on my computer to a certain capacity, because I had noise. I couldn't speak as loud as I wanted to. I couldn't truly be me the way I feel like I wanted to. I feel like there was a cap to it. But it feels so good to be able to just work whenever, however, create my own vibe, right? I wake up in the morning and I get on this computer and this monitor. I go to sleep, and the thing I do before I go to sleep is get up and get on the computer and the monitor, right? And it feels great. It feels great, man. There's no other way to explain it, right? So if you have your own spot, you know how it feels. But if you don't, it's okay, because you're gonna know how it feels. But what's most important that I realize that I think I do suggest for people who are interested in getting your own place, right, is to already act like you have your own place now. So when I was at my mother's house, I wouldn't spend much time. I would spend much time being more uncomfortable than I was comfortable, right? So I would wake up and it didn't feel comfortable for me to lock in my room anymore, right? So what I would do is I would leave for 12 hours, 8 hours a day, and I'm coming to Seattle, dude, and I'm spending all my time out here, right? But what it's training me to do is be on my own, right? I still have to go back to mother's house, right? But I'm out here for 8 to 12 hours by myself in the city, working on being me. And when it comes down to being me, when you have 8 hours to yourself, what is it that you do, right? Consistently. And the thing that I kept doing, and the thing that I was doing, right? I would come out here early. I'm locking in on the computer. I'm going to the gym. I'm vibing around in the city. I'm locking in on the computer, and I'm meeting up with my business partner Flash. I'm recording content. I'm doing all these things. I put myself in a position where I was on my own, even when I was living at home, right? So I kept putting myself in uncomfortable positions, because that truly matters, right? Because now when it was going on my own, right, it wasn't it wasn't anything new, right? It wasn't anything new. It was something that I was actually ready for. It got to the point where I was holding myself back by not being on my own, right? So it feels great to be here, man. We got a new spot. I had to let you guys know. This is the new studio headquarters, man. We're gonna be doing a lot of content up in here. This is the first Twitch live that I'm doing up in here. Let's see how this live is even looking anyway. Okay, we're looking good. Shout out to my boy Xavier. Looked like he followed me right there. Let me see if you guys can see any private information. Nah, you can't. Okay, I'm all good. All right. With that being said, what's next? I had topics coming. I had top specific topics for you guys when I pulled up AI and tech, right? So I want to touch on some AI and tech, man. I want to touch on some Chat GPT. I want to touch on some code. I want to touch on some, you know, all of it, dude. Because look, bro. Let me make myself smaller. All right, look, man. You know, AI and tech, man. So the last few months, man, I've been really focusing on combining AI and tech with my stock market expertise, right? So, I've been veering away from only prioritizing just the market and financial markets, but I've been really prioritizing AI, code, tech. I've been learning the languages, HTML and CSS and Bootstrap. I took a boot camp, right? So just the foundational of code and foundations of web development, right? And I'm gonna continue to learn JavaScript next, right? But the reason why this is important, why I wanted to touch on it, is just because, dude, we are moving in an era where you you need to be on top of those things, right? You need to understand tech. You need to understand AI. You need to understand. You need to use it, right? Because our world is just moving towards tech, and it's moving real fast, right? It's moving real fast, and the thing is, you're gonna be behind if you don't understand these concepts, right? So, do what you need to do to get, do what you need to do to get introduced to AI. Do what you need to do to get introduced to some code, right? Watch you some videos. Just understand how to use technology a lot more, because if not, you're gonna be behind, right? I don't want us to be that those people who are behind 5 years from now just learn how to do some AI and learn about a little bit of code when we could have when you could have prevented that. You could be studying right now. You could be taking the time to use it right now, and that's that. Put yourself ahead, right? Right now I got ChatGPT open. I just want to show you guys a little bit of how I use it, right? So you guys can use it for yourselves, because ChatGPT can be used for anything and everything, dude. Like, and it's not just ChatGPT. It's also learning a little bit of this language, coding, right? So you can build these things, and you can build you a software, because that's what we're building. That's where we're moving into, right? Let's do something different, right? I'm gonna show you guys how you code to basically make a website, literally, to make a website, right? And this basic coding is helping me, not so I know it all and I can understand all this code just to know it, but I can understand this code so I can build things with AI, right? Because if I'm just letting AI do all the code, well, that's not giving me any justice. That's not serving me a favor, right? It's not helping me learn anything, right? But if I know a little bit of the code and AI is giving me some code, right? I can give, if I know a little bit of code and he gives me some code, I can know what to give him and what to give him, and I can know what it is that he's giving me when he gives it to me back, right? So let me see. Let me lock in real quick. Let me walk in Twitch. All right, let's just do something real quick. This was a little assignment of the what's it called that I was doing. So this establishes the language, right? This is the language. And I'm not so filthy to the point where I remember absolutely everything. I just know enough, right? And then this is VS Code. VS Code will help you a little bit, and it will start things for you. if you wanted to. So this is a head. That's where a header goes. This is what establishes the character set, so it shows up in the language that it shows up in each language, right? So if somebody's viewing this website in Japanese, it's gonna character set it to Japanese, right? And the meta view name, the meta name port is just viewport. All it does is make sure that it changes size when you move it, right? So when you move it, it does this basically, and it'll adapt to the size change, right? Boom, 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 and boom. Title, Twitch, example, right? Twitch example, and then we're gonna go here, and I'm gonna put the body, right? H1. Welcome to my Twitch example. Right, then we're gonna add a paragraph. See what I said, it's gonna try to do it for you, right? I just do this for practice. Hey, this is a simple paragraph to show Twitch how to code with ChatGPT. Boom. And I can save this right here, and I can open it with a live server, right? Open it up on boom, and it's right there, right? So the reason why I brought this up is because we're gonna take this, right? And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put it in the chat. Hey, chat, take this code, add some more within the body. What else do I want it to do? Add some more within the body. And let's make a page. Make the background Twitch purple with CSS, which is the language Cascade Style Sheets. That's the language that's going to edit, style the website that we have right here. This is going to style this, right? Make the background Twitch purple with CSS, actually with Bootstrap, which is basically CSS but already ready-made components. Twitch purple with Bootstrap. Take this code, add some more within Twitch within the body. Make the background Twitch purple with Bootstrap. Add somewhere saying Twitch video goes here, and below make it the area where I would insert Twitch video. And he's gonna come back with code, right? And I'm gonna copy and paste that code. But in the past, I didn't know what he was talking about when I was doing stuff, so it would be much harder for me to do it. But now I know what he's talking about. I know what it is, right? So I know that he just added hyperlink, right? So this is a hyper reference link, right? And this refers to the CSS Bootstrap. This is the styling, right? Video placeholder. This is where I would put the video right here, and this is the CSS styling that gives it the background color, the border, right? The pixels of the border. It gives it a dash around the border. It gives it a radius, the radius over the border, right? It gives it padding so it makes sure it's spaced out enough, right? Aligns the text center, like, so I see all these things, right? And I see what he added. Twitch video goes here. Insert Twitch video iframe in this area, right? Bootstrap JavaScript right here. So I would take this, right? I can preview it here as well which is great. But I don't want to preview it here. Oh, I already did. Whatever. I don't know what that's doing. But anyways, we'll take that, and I take it and put it in a VS Code, and I'm going to go here and say, oh, replace it. Oh, boom. And then I'm going to go up here and open it myself. And now what do I have? I have a ready-made, right? So, and I'm going to take this, when I'm done with this Twitch video, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right here. And then I have a site where I have a site where my Twitch video will pop up at. And another thing is when it comes down to regular websites, like you can see the code behind the website. So let me go to a website like Google. Oh, my bad. Let's go to like a coffee shop. Use precise. Oh, not right now. I don't want you guys to know where I'm at and shit. You guys be weird. All right, so let's go to Drip Drip Coffee House, right? If I go to Drip Drip Coffee House, right, and I say, okay, this is their website, right? Oh, okay. I want to know how their website is made. Boom, Control U. Now I can see the HTML language class. It was loading website. That is, so it says no JavaScript. That means that this is classes. That's still HTML. It may be CSS. But boom. Meta character set, right? Like I was just talking about, right? A link to a profile, a link to a Drip Coffee House, right? Got JavaScript up in here a little bit. So, long story short, I've been getting into understand tech a lot more, right? And I think it's something that we all need to get into understanding so that we can stay ahead, right? Because we gotta expand our arsenal. Everybody gotta expand our arsenal, and it's just about being able to keep up with what's going on, right? The same way that I feel like finances is something that we all should learn, like stocks and crypto isn't something that you just specific people should do. Like it's something that we all should do. It's the same way that I think that we all need to learn AI. We all need to learn a little bit of code and language, and whether you're learning that or not, you don't have to. Just you don't have to learn deeply. Just have AI teach you enough, and then even when it comes down to AI with other things, like having it teach you literally anything and everything, right? So just getting to understand how to use this, right? There's no excuse nowadays. Literally, there's no excuse, right? There's no excuse. You can get AI to build you something. TikTok Oracle deal. iOS 26 update or wait. See, this is different, dude. This isn't even Google is ChatGPT is about to fill in and replace Google, man. Cause look, now you got all the latest of the latest, right? TikTok Oracle deal. Explain the fourth U.S. reprieve for TikTok and the Oracle-led framework. What changes for users and creators, and who will own U.S. entity? Here's a breakdown of the fourth U.S. reprieve of TikTok under the new Oracle-led framework. What's changing for users and creators, how the ownership will be structured, and what comes next. All right, by December 16, 2025, what is the fourth reprieve? The U.S. Congress in 2024 passed a law requiring ByteDance, TikTok's China-based parent, to divest its U.S. operations or risk a ban over concerns about national security, data access, influence operations. TikTok faced multiple enforcement deadlines, each postponed by executive order. This most recent one is the fourth such delay. The latest reprieve comes with a framework agreement and negotiation between U.S. and China. If it holds, TikTok will continue operating in the U.S. but under a restructured ownership data regimen. Right, so who will own? Key U.S. players are going to own TikTok now, so we're going to own a bit of the TikTok. Oracle, Silver Lake, and Jersine, I don't know these companies, and possibly others. They are part of the consortium take 80% of the U.S. entity shares, right? ByteDance retains the rest 20% of the negotiations. but with much lower control and oversight. Oracle's role is especially central not only as an investor, but likely as a manager for U.S. data infrastructure and perhaps as steward of some parts of the algorithm, or at least ensuring U.S. data, right? So, um, usually, I'm just going to ask him to sum all this up. See what's going on? Sum all this up for simple terms. I'm on Twitch Live, right? So I'm having to tell him, and look, here's the quick breakdown you can say on stream. The U.S. gave TikTok a fourth deadline extension, right? So they gave TikTok another deadline extension for December 16th, right? So a deal is being worked out where Oracle, which is a U.S. company, plus U.S. investors, right? They take 80% control of TikTok's U.S. business, right? They take 80% of control of how TikTok operates in the United States, right? ByteDance, which is the TikTok company, the owner of the company that created TikTok, they're going to keep 20%, right, of control. But all U.S. user data will live on Oracle servers in the U.S. with heavy government oversight. For users, creators, nothing big will change. Nothing big changes right away for us. It's going to be the same app, the same features, but behind the scenes, the U.S. will run its own version, maybe a separate algorithm. So that means that things may change, right? So the thing about TikTok is the fact that their algorithm is what makes TikTok anyway. So if we get TikTok and we end up changing the algorithm, it's not going to be the same TikTok as we know, right? Because China, they have this ultimate algorithm that gives TikTok the feel that we get from TikTok, that makes it just so feel like it knows us so well, right? So with that being said, final decision comes by December 16th. Either this deal is locked in or TikTok faces a U.S. ban. So December 16th, right? So we have another delay. It's December 16th is a deadline if they even stick to that. But either TikTok gets a ban or it doesn't. Hey, man. I haven't really been too much of a fan of TikTok anyway. I don't even really like TikTok as a platform. I think TikTok, the platform, personally, is kind of corny, right? You definitely have some good content on there, but something about it just feels like people are performing. It doesn't really feel like people are. It just feels like people are performing. Like, I don't know what it is about it. I got a TikTok, obviously official GoGetter, but it's hard for me to use it. I kind of just post when I want to on it. I'm trying to check out of it, right? Because content is content. I can't just do what I want to do. I gotta do what it is I gotta do, right? But yeah, TikTok kind of sucks. I don't like TikTok, so I'm not really too concerned about it, right? You shouldn't be really too concerned about it either. I mean, it's just a social media app, man, and we adapt every day. So with that being said, man, let's move on. That was AI tech, right? Showed you guys a little bit of code. Showed you guys a little bit how they operate with AI, right? Let's talk about the last thing. Let's talk about whatever at this point. Let's talk about I don't know, man. Nah, that's not what I wanted. Here's a light miscellaneous closer for you to use for your stream. You know what, bro? I'm gonna close this out with this, man. A new chat, ready when you are. We're going to maybe create a Twitch thumbnail from scratch. Create me a thumbnail that is purple saying official GoGetter Twitch stream. so you guys can know how to go about this process yourself. That's all it takes. This is all it takes. Let's see if he does it the way I want him to do it. I need these clips. 6 shorts have been created from your video. Finally, man. I finally got some clips. If you know anybody who want to do some clips, man, let me know, man, because this shit is so... It gets pretty tedious.
Yeah. Feeling like money.
Feeling like money.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm feeling the same way. I'm feeling good, man. You know, middle of the week, Wednesday. You guys see the scenery, new scenery. This is the spot now. You know, I just moved into the new spot on Mondays, and this is the rooftop of the view, man. So we got new scenery. This is where you guys can see us post up a lot more frequently here, right? But
want some chill? We're chilling, but you know what? The tears are sometimes as well. What keeps
money should be the work. So yeah, that's how money has changed me. You know, looking at everything like a system, right? What's next? Next.
Not necessarily about son, right? A little bit personal. I have a son, right? And so I read a book, right? And how to add and multiply. And my son learns every day, right? We're doing the things that we
are like that because that's just who you are. And that's the one thing about trading and investing is that we both love, I could say, is that comparing it to trading as well, right? It also looks like taking a loss and getting back to the drawing board and doing what we need to do to come back with this up, right? Let me bring it back full circle. Uncomfortability is what I was trying to get at. Dang, bro. I don't even know if these clips are good or not, man. I'll save them and just... see if I can edit it. Let me go back to this right here. Bang, official GoGetter Twitch stream right here. I'm gonna say widen. Let me see if I can edit this. Money should be the work. So yeah, that's how money has changed. Nah, I ain't even doing what I wanted to do. Never mind, man. Never mind. Just gonna go back here. I'm gonna export these when I'm ready, man. But we about to finish up quite soon, man. I'm just showing you guys the end of this thumbnail creation right here, man. Let me know how you guys feel about these Twitch streams, man. I'll come at you guys once a week, man. But today we touched on, you know, a few specific topics, man. It's about to be an hour since I've been on here. An hour went by pretty quick, right? We talked about SP500 being at all-time highs, man. We talked about SoFi being my favorite pick of all year when it comes down to the market, man. We talked about this new studio apartment that I'm in, how we've been locking in. We talked about AI tech, right? We're still talking about that a little bit. Talked about coding, right? Gave you guys the rundown, man. Gave you guys the life update, right? Just waiting on this to finish up. This is how my process kind of goes. You get to see me behind the scenes. Let me see. Bet. And that's how we got our Twitch stream thumbnail. You guys got to see the process, man. It's your boy Fish GoGetter, man. I'm gonna post this on YouTube, on my YouTube, and I'm also going to post the I'll post some clips on my Instagram, man. But I'll see you guys next Tuesday, right? I'm gonna shoot for every Tuesday, right? I like doing these streams, so we gonna hop on here and just stream, man. Cause I got the space, I got the opportunity too, man, and Twitch stream thumbnail. With that being said, man, it's your boy Fisher Go Getter, and I'm about to end stream. I'll see you guys soon.